Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not, funny show, reviews. I am Jen Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And today we're going to be reviewing the 11th episode of Debris, which is coming to you from NBC and streaming on Peacock and on Hulu. And it is entitled Asalah. So, was this episode good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Stick around because I have opinions. Debris, episode 11, entitled Asalah. And for a change, the title actually means something easy to understand for the episode. But in Asalah, we find Brian and Finola once again they're on the road again. For some reason, they have a plane, but they just drive around a lot in their SUV for whatever reason. I guess they don't want to fly too much. Either way, they're on the road, going about their daily lives because Orbital doesn't know that they're running a game because George Jones is, he's supposed to be back sequestered. He's working on this special, piece of equipment, but I guess not. He's just driving around on his own. They're not doing a very good job of keeping him hidden. He's supposed to be dead, but I guess no one's really looking for a dead guy. So he's off doing his thing. In the meantime, they get called on a new piece of debris on the other side of the country. And Orbital, apparently they have other teams that are running around tracking down debris. So I guess Brian and Finola aren't the only ones looking for this stuff, but they get called in because Brian is name-checked by a woman that has no reason to know who the hell he is. And she just keeps saying his name. So they fly across country and they find this young woman unresponsive except to Brian. And even to Brian, all she's really doing is apparently reciting dialogue from his memories. And in the course of doing so, it kind of puts Brian in a bit of I don't want to call it coma. He's a bit of an epileptic fit or whatever. They get him to the MRI and all that. And what follows is really, if I have to be honest, somewhat dull, a somewhat dull episode of this show, which is full of a lot of exposition. The best thing this episode does is really kind of reveal more about Brian as a person. His background. He's been, we've learned a lot about Finola, and Brian's been, aside from being, we know he's a Marine, he was in Afghanistan, but, what else do we know about him? Not too much. Just he says, he owes Maddox his life, and so. That's all we really know about him, and the way he's acted on this show so far. And we've kind of liked him because, he's a stand-up guy and everything. He's got Finola's back. And this is an episode where he's vulnerable and she has his back. And to be honest, they don't have much to do because there is something going on with the debris and it's connecting him and this woman, and they're talking about the past. And what we see is really kind of getting to know more about a apparently tragic experience he had in Afghanistan. And it is about this young lady named Asalah, an Afghani young lady, and she decides to help them root out Taliban in her village. And long story short, it goes really bad, and she ends up being killed. But we don't know all of that. Not Finola and Maddox, he's there too because Brian is indisposed and in a bit of a situation. And so what we learned from this is that Maddox was there at this particular incident. This is a defining moment in Brian's life, and we don't understand why. That's one of the things this episode really kind of does wrong. I really got to the last 7 minutes of this episode wondering, what was this for? Why was this episode? What are we doing here? Okay, I get it. It's a nice little snippet, of things that happened before. What did that have to do with the debris? And, they run up on that, too. At the very end, just as he's about to, I guess, make the connection with the woman who, was affected by the debris, and they were going to, I guess, explain what the heck he's doing there, he gets shocked out of it, and it ends up killing the young lady. So any answers we were going to get, they go away. Why? It really made me wonder, what the hell was the point of this episode? And only at the very end do we really see what the point was. In this case, again, not just to reveal who Brian is, but also to sort of show what that life-saving thing Maddox did. He said Maddox saved his life. Well, in this case, Brian, he was very devastated by the death of this young lady, whom he made some promises to and everything, and he was, hoping she would be able to get out so that he would be able to help her out, and maybe even get her out of the country and her grandfather out of the country. But because she wanted to warn his squad of the ambush that they were walking into, so that he wouldn't think she betrayed him, she ends up getting killed in the crossfire, and it really devastates him to the point that off camera, he tells Finola later that he goes and finds some insurgents in the hills and exacts revenge on them, and I'm assuming kills them all, and finds out that they weren't even the insurgents that had attacked and she had gotten killed in the crossfire. It's just some other guys, and they were in fact connected to the CIA, and it screwed up their op, and he was going to go to he's going to go to prison for probably life for war crimes for things he did, and Maddox pulls him out of the fire in order to make him a member of Orbital, and that's why he feels like he owes Maddox something for the way he kept him out of prison. It's all very interesting to reveal that about reveal that about Brian, and I enjoyed it. I still just wonder, but why though? And there is a little bit of a stinger, a little bit of teaser at the end with some a Native American man out in the desert, clearly on a set, like very much clearly on. It looks like they're painted backdrops and a bunch of fake sand. The light looks all. They're not. It's not in this. It's supposed to be in Arizona, not in Arizona. Just trust me. They're still in Vancouver. They're just they're on a soundstage. But they're pointing to a Native American legend, and probably it maybe has something to do with the debris and something. Who knows? We're going to find out from the future. But again, I ask, what was the point of all this? Except to point out, Finola's idea that all the debris are connected somehow, that they're communicating, that anyone who's been affected by the debris, maybe their memories, consciousness, whatever, is inside of, a network of all these pieces of debris. It's all speculation, but because in this show, for some reason, speculation just becomes reality. These guys, I guess they're so smart that they figure this stuff out just on the fly. But speculation is reality, I guess. There's no need to, offer alternate hypotheses or even try to test things out. Let's just run with it because it sounds good. That said, again, it's a bit of a dull episode, I'm going to have to say. A little dull. I do like the character advancement, but it does feel a little bit like filler. Like I didn't really know what was the point. It advanced the story a little bit, but not much. So we still got a bunch of plot threads that are still dangling and none resolved in this episode. So overall, if you've been watching the show, it's not a bad episode, but you could skip it, I think. Anyway, that's what I thought about this episode of Debris. What did you guys think about it? Did you like it, not like it? Why don't you get down in the comments and let me know what you're thinking. Of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1, and we can chop it up about Debris. Let's figure out what's really going on here. Also, hey, are you a member of the Super Not Funny Show? What? You're not? Well, get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the Super Not Funny Show family, and while you're at it, you can also hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when we drop new content, and we're doing that every week. New reactions, new reviews, and anything else that floats our pop culture boat, like the Invincible cast, which I do with my friend Lottie, where we talk about the great show Invincible. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks once again for joining me for this review of Debris. Come back next week when we review the very next episode of Debris. Until then, I have been Mo Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.